Welcome to Boomer Bongo Boulevard. We're back again, season 2, episode 17. I'm Mike, just Mike. Along with me is my brother, Ron, just Ron. And we are talking about, Ron, the Monkees today. But before you think and talk,
Monkees.
before you say anything, subscribe. We need 31 subscribe. Now show your t-shirt. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Now.
All right. Woo.
Okay.
Monkees.
I thought you were about to take it off and try to get some beads, but that's not
Now
going to
nobody
work.
wants to see that, man.
And you're exactly right.
Yeah.
So anyway, Ron, from 1966 to 1966 to 1967, 2 seasons, actually 68, it ran over into the spring. The Monkees produced 58 episodes of the show, The Monkees. Actually, the Monkees didn't produce it. They were just on it. They were hired to be actors in it and sing. But funny thing happened on the way to hiring the Monkees. They gelled a bit and they became a group. And isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
You can't, when you talk about the Monkees, you can't just talk about the band and you can't just talk about the show. You got to talk about the band in relation to the show and how the band survived the show for decades. And I don't think there's any other story like it in entertainment.
Well, I love what Mike Nesmith said to, his name goes out of my, Don Kirshner, who was their Budinsky producer. You know, he did pick out some great music for him to play, but
He sure did.
He was too controlling, and they wanted to, try their hand at producing and writing and all that. And it turned out they were pretty dead gum good at it.
Right.
And, anyway, and he told him, he goes, I could have just cast any 4 guys. You know that, right? He goes, yeah, but you didn't.
Right.
You cast us 4 guys.
Yeah. It's like somebody talking about art. They walk into an art, looking around in a museum and they see art, and hanging on one wall is this canvas painted black with one red dot in the middle of it. Well, I could have done that. Yeah, but you didn't.
Yeah, you did.
That person.
Exactly.
You didn't.
And of course, my homage to my favorite monkey, the hat,
Michael
the wool hat.
Yeah. Isn't that the whole definition of art? Yeah, but you didn't.
Yeah, you didn't.
You didn't. I could have written that song. Yeah, but you didn't. And, I could have written a song about breaking a car down into pieces and shipping it home. Yeah, but you didn't. That was a Johnny Cash song. Yeah, it's a Johnny Cash song.
And somebody else actually did stuff.
Yeah.
Like, and I'll pull a Joker quote out from The Dark Knight too. Yeah, I don't make plans. I just do. I like people that do stuff.
I could have done that.
That's so the Monkees, I like to do things. I don't like to make plans. I like to do stuff.
The thing about the Monkees is, Ron, and we both love it. I mean, we love them, and they're great, and they really were talented, and they produced great music, or at least they were part of the production team that produced great music, which is the same for everybody who produces music. There's a production team. There's a producer who sits in the booth and decides how loud the drums are going to be, and whether to bring in their guitar solo or maybe use it twice, or all the different decisions that are made, and the spouses of the band members who make suggestions, and all the stories that go on behind it. The Monkees were just like really any other artistic endeavor. They were part of it, and it wouldn't exist without them. But it was a big production, and for some reason, some of the snobs of the world want to make fun of the Monkees for it. Nobody else for it. Like they didn't play their own instruments. Well, last time I checked, neither did Smokey freaking Robinson and the Supremes.
Well, come to find out, most of the bands, Beach Boys, all those guys, they were all backed up by like Tower of Power and the what's that? All the guys that what's their name? They played on almost every record in the '60s.
The Wrecking Crew.
Wrecking Crew, yeah, that's it. The Wrecking Crew. Look, but the Monkees could play their. They proved it with Headquarters, where they played every note of everything.
Didn't matter. No matter what they did, they weren't going to get recognized.
The Beatles didn't even play every note on everything. They had George Martin played the harpsichord and keyboard in a lot of their songs. That's their producer. Billy Preston played with them.
What I really liked was the way the Beatles played the violins in the backgrounds of their songs.
Yeah.
And the harp. I remember
Yeah.
how the Beatles played the harp, and
Yeah.
John Lennon learned to play the harp just so he could play every note on it.
Yeah.
Hey, what a bogus political argument. But I don't want to be bitter, but I'm going to
Yeah.
be because we Monkees fans have earned the right to be bitter, and Mickey Dolenz
Right.
has all the rest of the Monkees have too. And oddly enough, I think Mickey's probably one of the least bitter people around. Mickey Dolenz, the only
Yeah.
surviving Monkee. By the way, the Monkees: Davy Jones, Peter Tork, Michael Nesmith,
Yeah.
and Mickey. Did I name Mickey already? Davy,
Yeah.
Mickey, Mike,
Yeah.
and Peter.
Man,
Peter
we know
Tork.
them all.
Yeah, we know them all frontwards and backwards. Well, some people don't. Maybe
Yeah.
maybe some younger person clicks on this and they're a Monkees fan, which there are plenty of young people that are the Monkees fans because for some reason Monkees music just I think it's like the Beatles. Number one, you can understand every lyric, and that contributes to
Yeah.
people liking your music, and or most every lyric. Going down being the exception, because it's sung at 93 miles an hour.
Well, and there's so many people that have said that that were really admirers of the Monkees. Like bands talk about like when they did their 50th anniversary, they got together and made an album in 2016. Good Times. They had no problem getting contributions from people because all the producers had to do was ask people who were like, hey, yeah, I want to write a song for the Monkees.
right.
Heck yeah, I do.
Well, here's the interesting part too. There's a lot of interesting things about the Monkees, and you can learn argument. You can learn how to argue by studying the Monkees. But all these critics, all these folks that are quick to criticize the Monkees. Oh, you weren't a real band. They were recruited. They were brought in. They were stars of a TV show. Yeah, they you can say all that, but that's going to put you on the same side of the argument as the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Do you really want to be that stupid? Do you really want to be teamed up with those morons? Oh, yeah, jackasses. Yeah, really. Do you really want to be on their team? The team that left out some of the greatest rock. Three Dog Night is not the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
No.
And it's not like they were doing silly music.
They played their own instruments and sang their own stuff, but they didn't write any songs. But hey, neither did Elvis.
Elvis Presley. Well, Elvis is in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
A lot of people didn't write their own songs. There's no, but like they said, the Monkees did write a lot of their own songs.
They did,
but Mickey wrote a few, Peter wrote a few.
Well, and they made decisions that really affected whether a song was a big hit or not. The Monkees themselves, Peter sometimes, not Peter, but Mickey sometimes go, I can't really sing. Davey, why don't you sing this one? Hey, Mike, why don't you sing this one?
Yeah.
Or Davey, hey, Mickey sounds better on this song. And that's not an important decision. That's not creative. That's just, hey, it's not creative when you're a football coach and you decide who your starting quarterback who ends up taking you to the Super Bowl. That's not creative at all. No, there's no thinking involved in that at all. Except for the fact that there's a million coaches out there that everybody knows the mistakes they made. And anyway, I want to talk about the show a little bit. We talked about the fact that it was 66, 67. And, the Monkees have been snubbed from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, which the longer the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame goes on and the longer they do things like and a great artist, but not a rock and roll artist like Willie Nelson in it.
Jimmy Buffett, Dolly Parton. Come on, man.
Well, I could go with Jimmy Buffett. He's got a couple of rock and roll songs, but Dolly Parton. But Willie Nelson will tell you he doesn't belong in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and if he doesn't, he needs to. He needs to make a speech and say that.
Willie could be high, which is most of the time, and would say that.
But let's get into some details. Some of these people that wrote songs, the Monkees, the most significant thing about the band and the show were the people that did write songs for the Monkees.
Amazing talent writing songs.
Hey, did you? I went down a list. I found a couple of names that did surprise me. I'd never heard them before anywhere. Of course, it's not like I read extensively about it. But David Gates of Bread wrote had a co-writing credit on one Monkees song.
Oh, I didn't know that. Now, I knew Harry Nilsson wrote several.
Harry Nilsson was in on several of them. And
Harold King wrote some of the best ones.
Well, yeah. I mean, those are the well-known ones. But Martin Murphy.
Oh, yeah.
What am I doing hanging around? The Wildfire Guy, which is one of the great songs I've ever heard. I can listen to it all day. And And you could make an argument that was easily What Am I Doing Hanging Around? I would say it's easily the best Monkey song vocalized by Michael Nesmith. Just
Oh, that's a great
memorable
song.
story. We did a story song. Did we put that in our story
My
songs?
favorite is Door into Summer as far as his vocal goes.
Yeah,
That's my favorite.
yeah. Did we include What Am I Doing Hanging Around with our story songs segment that we did last
I
year? Do
can't
you
remember
remember?
if we did or not. It should
Should
have been
have.
if we didn't. I
We
think
should
we
have.
did. I think
Yeah,
we
I
did.
think so too.
I
I think
think
so
you
too.
did.
But and a great story. I love story songs. I love
Yeah,
story songs.
I do too. Can't
Neil
help it.
Sedaka. Neil Sedaka was in on that. Hey, you know whose name I found buried up in a co-writing credit for one of the Monkey songs? Jack Nicholson. Yeah, from that he was involved in Head
Head, yeah.
somehow, and he co-wrote one of the songs
Yeah,
in
they sat
Head.
around, doing drugs and wrote that whatever it is. The music in it was great. I mean, it's a great album. There's great songs
Jack,
all over that soundtrack album.
Jack. Another day, another $100,000. That's Jack Nicholson. My favorite Jack Nicholson quote. Hey, what's your favorite Monkey song?
Oh, Girl That I Knew Somewhere.
Oh,
It's
really?
not even close.
Why?
That's my absolute favorite.
Why?
Well, I don't know. It just grabbed me. I think because it's one of my favorite episodes, the one with Julie Newmar. And I always like Julie Newmar.
Mm-hmm.
And the more I listened to it, and then found out about it, I found out that was like their first song that they released that they wrote and produced and played every instrument on.
Huh.
And there's several versions of it, and I like them all. Like there's a lead with Mike, and there's a lead with Mickey. Mickey's is the one that got released, but both of them are good. They're
Yeah.
their own style. It's just, it's just something about it just kind of grabs me.
My favorite. I actually have two, but my favorite that would be a surprise choice would be. And I got a story that written by Neil Diamond.
Yeah.
Look Out, Here Comes Tomorrow.
Yep.
And here's the thing. That used to be my least favorite Monkey song. I hated it. Number one, I tend not to like Davy vocal songs. Those are my least favorite of the Monkees.
Yeah.
Just nothing personal against Davy. I just tended to not like them as much.
A lot of times they were a little too cute. A lot of times.
Yeah. But or Davy had a way of making them cute. I don't know, but of course he's the cute monkey anyway.
Yeah.
But that's. But I was on YouTube one day just a couple of years ago, and I was kind of doing just how you do your own research for no good reason, just end up following the subject, and there were a lot of younger artists. Younger-ish artists who were really heavily influenced by the Monkees, particularly songs like "I'm Not Your Stepping Stone" and harder rock type songs like that by the Monkees. And I cannot remember the artist's name. He was a guy that was well known at the time, but he was brought on as a guest star at a concert. They had a live version of it, and he and the headliner for the concert, who I can't remember either, were talking for a minute, or when they introduced this second character out to come out and do a number. He came out, he did some hit song he had, and then they were both talking about how they love the Monkees and how the Monkees influenced them, the songs of the Monkees, and they had Monkey albums and all this. And the guy goes, "I'm going to do my favorite Monkey song," and he sang "Look Out, Here Comes Tomorrow," and it was so good live.
Cool.
And I started listening to it. It's a great vocal. You have to be able to sing a little bit to sing "Look Out, Here Comes Tomorrow." Yeah. And after that, I broke out my karaoke. Got to the karaoke part of YouTube and started singing "Look Out, Here Comes Tomorrow." Now I love it. I just think it's a great song.
I think something funny about Davey, if you watch any of their videos on YouTube, when he sings his songs live, they're better than they were on the record.
Yeah.
Because he does a little different stuff with them, like "I Want to Be Free," which I never liked, but when I heard him sing it live, I'm like, this song is so much better live, because it has a little bit. It's almost like, do you remember what they did with that little goofy song that he sang on the Brady Bunch?
I can't remember the song.
Look what you've done to me.
Oh yeah, girl.
And then in the Brady Bunch movie, they made in the 90s, they had, Marcia getting Davey. And of course, Davey shows up and saves at the prom, plays at the prom. And, and it's like a a grunge band playing, and they're backing Davey up, and they start going like, wow, you know, and it turns into like a real rocker, you know. And
Well,
that version's like so much better than the original. You know, it's kind of
well,
like that's the way almost everything he sings, he sung live, turned into that. Look out,
it,
Here Comes Tomorrow is. I was like you. I didn't like that one as much until I heard him sing it live on a video on YouTube, and I liked it so much better
yeah, oh yeah.
with him saying just the way he emphasized words and everything. You know,
Well,
everything
maybe that's the
was
way you
great.
tell. That's the way you tell a really good song. Is it always it never stops growing on you. And so
Yeah,
many of the Monkey songs. Here's something I always had a thought about, and he can't do it now, but I always thought I may have told you this before, but I always wished there was a Waylon Jennings version of
Last Train to Clarksville.
Last Train to Clarksville.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I remember you
and
talking about that.
it's not hard to picture it.
Yeah,
You just picture it's got that Waylon Jennings drive to it. Take the last train to Clarksville, and I must hang up the face. Just Waylon Jennings. I'm the one
you
singing on this.
reminded me of something kind of funny. I can't remember how long ago. It might have been about 10 years ago. They seemed like it was about that long ago. Um, there was like this tour that went on. It had like Christopher Cross, several other people. I can't remember everybody, but Mickey was one of them. And what the whole tour was about, it was about 5 or 6 of them, and they were doing the White Album, the Beatles White Album.
Ah,
And each one came out there, and they picked out whatever about 4 cuts to do a
right.
piece, and that was like the whole concert. And and, and I remember one of the ones. I seemed like Mickey when I think he did Rocky Raccoon, which is perfect for him. But the other one that really cracked me up was he picked out "Why Don't We Do It in the Road."
Oh, sure.
And I'm like going, I need to find a copy of that somewhere of somebody that got video of that, because I was like, yeah, I'd like to see that.
That's kind of like Steven Tyler doing "She Came In Through the Bathroom Window," if you've
Yeah.
ever heard that. And boy, all of a sudden you go, that would be a #1 song with Steven Tyler singing it. And
Yeah, it's funny how it works out sometimes.
yeah, one thing that's surprising to me about the Monkees is the music's so good and so respected among many really good musicians. I'm
Yeah,
surprised there haven't been more efforts to cover
I
older
know.
Monkee
There's
songs.
only been a very few. Of course, famously, "I'm a Believer,"
Oh yeah, and
for the
it was
Shrek movie.
huge. It
Yeah,
was huge.
yeah,
From Shrek,
mhm,
it was on the Shrek soundtrack. Who was
yeah.
that did that? I can't even remember who did that.
Oh, gosh, who are those
I
guys?
can't. Don't worry about it.
See,
I
they're
should have
not
brought it.
around anymore. So
Yeah, well, it was still, and it
then
was
we've
huge.
already
Now,
forgotten. See,
well, I'm
but we
thinking,
still talk
I'm
about the
thinking.
Monkees, right?
Well, yeah, the press covered it up, but
Yeah,
I, 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 I thought then when that was a big hit,
yeah,
I'm thinking why don't they? You would think that would have awakened a lot of artists and go, I'm going to cover a Monkey song.
yeah,
But it never really happened. That's with a lot of artists. It doesn't.
yeah,
They don't always get covered like you think they would, and
yeah,
even those songs now are like 60 years old.
yeah.
Right at 60 years old,
Oh,
and you
yeah.
would think that's what better song to cover than a 60-year-old song that is a good quality song.
Oh, absolutely.
And
Oh, here's when we were talking about favorite song and stuff. This is one that's in my top 5 favorites, and sometimes they kind of change over the years, because you'll get where I'm like that with the Beatles too. But this is one that's been in mine for a little while, and kind of an unusual. And it was just a B-side, but I liked it a lot. Tapioca Tundra by Mike Nesmith.
yeah, you really like that.
Yeah,
I'm still a little neutral on it,
yeah,
but you really like that one.
yeah.
And, what's your favorite Monkees? Now we'll get back to the TV series.
Yeah.
What's your favorite Monkees? Because the TV series was innovative and
Yeah.
hilarious and great. Of course, it was a direct steal from the Beatles, A Hard Day's Night. The Beatles movies, which were just this frantic
Yeah.
things with music videos basically
Yeah.
inserted in them and all that. But boy, it was just fun to watch them in fast motion and running film in reverse and ad libbing and putting all that in. But what's your favorite Monkees episode? going
The one that
directly.
makes me laugh the hardest consistently all the way through. I'm trying to remember the exact name of it, but I can describe it and you'll probably remember it. It's the one where they all of them keep winning uh, dance lessons at this dance studio. And they go down there and they're, and he ends up signing them up for life, so they have
Oh
to,
yeah,
get out of it and everything. And it's got so many great moments in it, like, like it has some of the good, like breaking the wall stuff. Like Mickey was like saying something. He goes, "Wait a minute, that doesn't sound right." And he goes over and he walks behind the cameras and grabs the script and starts going through it. And then he says something about, "I need to talk to the writers." And he goes in this room, and it's all these like looks like a bunch of 100-year-old like Chinese scribes or something all look up.
sure,
And they're in there
sure.
smoking, it's like smoking there and stuff. And he says
Uh,
something to them, and they hand him back one of them types real quick and hands him a page. He goes, "Yeah, that's better." They go back and he does the thing. And,
it was.
you know,
I was thinking what never thought about this before, but if you ever saw the old Red Skelton show, I'm not sure it wasn't a lot of the Monkees' antics weren't inspired by the old Red Skelton
oh,
show
Red
too.
Skelton
Red
was
Skelton
great.
was
I used to love Red
he was
Skelton.
famous for ad libbing
Mm-hmm.
and starting to talk to the audience and mugging for the camera and
Yeah.
walking off the set and picking up a script and coming back and reading off the script for a few minutes and all this, just all kinds of crazy stuff. And the Monkees did that regularly. Um, I think mine is not that funny, but it's really good and cool, and it's got a spiritual level to it. And I mean that seriously.
Yeah.
Peter's deal with the devil.
Yeah. The Devil and Peter Tork.
The
Yeah.
devil and Peter Tork.
That's the one most people name. That's why I just kind of backed off that one, because
Yeah,
I figured you'd probably say that one.
it's what a lot of people do, just because it's
It's
a
great.
little off. It's not quite like the typical Monkey show. And of course, they have a trial at the end, and Peter wins. It's kind of like
Yeah.
Devil Went Down to Georgia meets the Red
Yeah.
Skelton show. Peter has a duel with the devil in the courtroom, and Peter
Yeah.
wins because they always kind of brought Peter out as, well, he's sincere. Peter
Yeah.
doesn't have a lot going for him. They've been on the show. His
Yeah.
character doesn't have a lot going for him. He's not real smart. He maybe isn't the greatest musician in the world, but and in real life, of course, Peter Tork was a very good musician, as was
Oh
Michael
yeah.
Nesmith. That's the thing about that show is they did such a great job of recruiting the right people. They had two of those guys that were legit musicians.
Yeah.
Michael Nesmith had already written a hit song
Yep.
for Linda Ronstadt when she was with the Stone Ponies,
Mm-hmm.
Different Drum. He'd written it already. He'd already been on the charts, and he wrote every note of it. And then, of course, Davy Jones was an actor
Yeah.
and had been on stage and had been on
As was
Broadway.
Mickey.
Yeah, it was on the Ed Sullivan Show the night the Beatles were on with, and Mickey was an actor, but also was actually a pretty good guitar player.
Yeah. He'd
Although,
already played in a couple of bands and stuff.
yeah, and
when he got a little older.
but I guess Mickey and Davy were more the actor types, and
Yeah.
Mike and Peter were the more pure musicians.
Mm-hmm.
How could you really miss for what they needed for that show?
Well, the way they got Peter, Peter didn't even go to the original audition. Stephen Stills, his buddy, went, from Crosby,
Right.
Stills and Nash, and they was going like, well, you're close, you're kind of what we're looking for, but you're just not quite there. Basically, that was their nice way of telling him he wasn't quite good looking enough.
Right, right.
So he goes like,
But
look,
Mickey
he goes,
was.
He goes,
Mickey
I got
was.
a guy for you. He goes, my friend Peter Tork. He goes, you need to see him. He said he'd be perfect, and he sent Peter down there. And of course, they hired him.
Yeah. Hey, Davy, but were any of the rest? None of the Monkees were perfect either. They weren't these perfect matinee. Really, Mickey, Peter, and Mike weren't Hollywood matinee
No,
good-looking guys.
They were all just kind of regular guys.
Everyman.
Yeah, they just had personality.
Well, and Davy wasn't the typical leading man. He wasn't the 6'5" dude that looked really good.
Well, because they always made the jokes about how short he was.
Sure.
Like the running gag was something about standing up. He'd go, "I am standing up."
I'm standing up. He'd been a jockey, for goodness sake.
Yeah, that was another thing about the show too. I didn't realize how many running gags they had on that show until I was watching something on YouTube, and it was like showing all these running gags for the show, and I was like, "Man, I forgot about all that stuff." Like he's gone. That was
Oh man.
one.
Hey, you know what we need to do is we need to get Mickey. We'll never be able to do it in a
Yeah.
million years, but wouldn't it be great to just get Mickey in here and he could give us his insights and we could tell him what we liked
Oh,
about
it
it
would be great.
and and you never know, somebody out there might know what do they say,
Yeah, just
six
drop a
degrees.
message, Mickey. If you see it, just drop a message. I'll
Yeah,
answer immediately. Trust me.
we'll just hey Mickey, we won't even film it. We'll just talk to you if you
Yeah.
don't want to film it. Just be fun to do. Of
Right.
course,
Yeah.
we're
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
guys.
Exactly. Yeah. It would be worth it.
Hey,
And it's not even. You know.
hey Mick, it won't be any fun. We're going to be just like Chris Farley interviewing Paul McCartney. We'll just be like, "Hey Mickey, you remember when you
Hey,
were in the
you're
Monkees?
that
You
time.
remember that?" And Mickey will go, "Yeah, yeah, hey, yeah." And it was really good. Was it fun? I mean, that'll be our interview, but it'll be fun for us. And we're old men. We need a little fun before we go. And maybe we should end it on that. I don't know. There were a couple other things I wanted to. Well, we talked about the songwriters. Do we need a song of the week?
We've been talking about his song of the week.
I I thought we should mention Anne Murray and the huge. The couple of
Oh
times
yeah,
people
yeah.
have
No, that's a
covered it.
cover of yeah,
I think it may
Daydream
have
Believer.
surpassed the Monkees version as far as popularity and
Yeah,
selling
yeah,
records and how many times she appeared on TV singing Daydream Believer. And
yeah.
people have almost forgotten about Anne
Yeah,
Murray
and I
now,
would
but
say
that was a
nobody
huge.
remembers it now,
No,
but
that was a
everybody always,
huge
that's like,
song.
that's the Monkees forever.
Yeah, except it isn't. If you're an
Yeah.
Anne Murray fan, and I'm sure there are quite a few out there in Canada, because she was Canadian, that and his female approach to it, and man, hey, if any band happens to catch a little of this on YouTube and you're looking for something to record or add to your show, go through the Monkees catalog, spend a
Yeah.
little time listening to. I promise you'll find a couple of things you'll go, wow, we could do that song, we could add that song.
Hey,
That could
watch
be
some of their live performances on YouTube because some of them
yeah,
are great.
yeah,
Oh, and that
sure.
reminds me of something else too. I'm glad that I got to do this. I didn't ever see them all four together, but I have seen all four of them.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
saw, Mickey, Davey, and Peter in '86 when they had their big comeback. I saw them
yeah.
on that tour. And then I didn't see them for a really long time. The next time I saw them again was on the 50th anniversary tour in 2016. I saw, actually, it's funny the way I saw them. I didn't even know it was going to be a show. I was following Peter Tork on Facebook, and he would send out these little messages, and everybody was following him. And he sent out this thing that said, here's something interesting for you people around Dallas. He goes, we're filming a concert live on Access TV. And if you show up, or you print this out and show up and show this, you can get in for free and be in the audience
Wow.
for the live TV, TV broadcast. And I was like, I'm in.
Hey, wait. Are there any two words that would appeal to you more than the Monkees and free?
Oh yeah, that's awesome.
That's
I went
perfect.
down there, and Linda and I stood in line for over 2 hours, and we could have got like way down here on the first row, or a little bit in second, but we kind of
Sure.
sat kind of where we could see the best, so we got like in
Right,
the fourth row center,
right.
where it was like, I could have easily flipped the hat up there and landed on one of their heads.
Yeah, sure.
And and it was a live broadcast on Access TV, 2 hour special.
Cool. Cool.
And
You got
you
that
can
just
see
by
me
paying.
you can see me in the audience a few times because I'm like
Cool.
bigger than everybody around me. I was like 6 or 8 inches taller than everybody around
The
me,
big
and I
guy.
was wearing this shirt, so it was easy to spot.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, you're wearing the hat.
No, I
No
just had a
wool hat.
regular baseball cap on. No, this hat right here, I have to give some props. My sister-in-law, Christy, made this for me.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
she was making hats and doing all this stuff for her for Christmas, and these pull-on slippers and everything. And she asked
Uh-huh.
me if I had a request, and I said,
Yeah.
could you make me a Mike hat? And she goes, I
Mike
can
Nesmith.
try. We
Yeah.
tried a couple of different dealy bobbers. This was the one that I,
Well,
finally decided on because it looked the most accurate.
you know what? That's what this hat is missing. It does not have a dealy bobber. and
Yeah.
I need one. I'm gonna have to get a dealy bobber for this.
Yeah. Back
Timeless.
then in the '60s, I'm sure Mike's was probably handmade as well.
Oh, it probably was. Yeah,
Because
you couldn't
most of them
couldn't
probably
just go
were
out
back then.
couldn't just go out and order things back then. You had
No,
to go
back then
find
you
them in
had
a
to pretty much
store,
make them or something. Yeah.
make it. Yeah, yeah. Use
Let's
your
see.
paint.
All right. I saw them in 2016 for free. Then I saw. Let's see. I got to see Mike by himself at this real small venue. It was only about 300 or 400 people, and I was like, I don't know, 10, 15 feet away from him,
Yeah,
watching him play. And he played like some of his stuff. He didn't play any Monkey stuff. He played all
right,
his stuff
right.
after he left the Monkees, but still was great.
Yeah, sure.
And then after several years of having tickets during all the COVID, I finally got to see Mike and Mickey play uh, Monkey songs,
Right,
live and
right,
everything. So,
right.
and I saw that 2 nights in a row, and that was good. So I've seen them all.
And I've never seen any of them.
Yeah,
But I saw the original Monkey episodes. I think 11 when it started, and it would come on Saturday afternoon
yeah,
for no, it didn't for the rest of the country, but where we were because of some broadcasting rules and that kind of thing, the Monkees was available to one of the local ABC channels, even though it was an
yeah.
NBC show, and I would see it at 6 o'clock on Saturdays. I don't know if I said Sunday or Saturday, but it was Saturday, and every episode I hung it. And sometimes they didn't broadcast it because I guess they hadn't recorded it properly or there was just something keeping them from doing it. I would just lose my mind because
Yeah.
I love that thing so much. But anyway,
Now here's
Ron,
something
there's
I
a
have
lot
to
more we
think
could.
about. Now here's somebody I might just take a chance to reach out to these guys. These guys would be fun to talk to. I saw them online a couple of years ago, and I actually sent them a couple of messages just see if they would be playing. If they were going to play outside California. There's these guys that are a Monkees tribute band, and
Ah,
they dress up, and how there's a bunch of Beatles and stuff, but they're the only Monkees one I've ever seen.
right.
And they do the whole era from early to the way they dressed in the second season, and they're really really good.
Yeah.
They
They could
sound
be
amazing.
they could be dead by now, Ron. We're getting to that age. They could all be.
No, these guys are young.
Oh, yay.
Yeah, they're
Good.
like a tribute. The tribute band. They're
Okay.
called the Monkey Men.
I feel more comfortable then. Yeah. Oh, I
Yeah,
think I've seen them
and
on YouTube. I've seen them
because
on
I
YouTube.
remember I sent them like a message. I mean, dude, like shot me a message, answer back like the
Good.
next day.
Good.
And
Good.
someone said, yeah, we hadn't got anything out where we're touring outside California, but we're working on it. And I noticed the other day because I follow them online and stuff, they're starting to venture out some. So I'm like,
Oh, good.
hey,
Maybe. Could
might
happen.
reach out or
Could.
might go, hey, Monkey Man, if you see it, drop me a line on here.
Lots of things.
Love to
Lots of
talk
things
to
could
you.
happen. Hey, Ron, look what's happened. We are on YouTube spreading our wisdom and love all over the internet on Boomer Bongo
Bongo
Boulevard.
Boulevard.